Hi, day 26, only a few more to go. Anyway, today I want to talk about documentation. And I don't mean just gathering a whole bunch of papers and or reading, doing research papers. I actually mean documentation that you keep for reasons, because you should have documentation. I'm going to talk about a few different reasons why you need documentation and how it can all work out as soon as I figure out how to shut this off. Since it seems like I was talking twice. Okay, so years ago, I was consulting at a place, and this VP of finance wanted to do something that I said, no, that's not how that's supposed to work. And he said, well, I know how much money I'll get if you do that, so that's what I want done. I said, okay, here's what's going to happen. If you want to do that, I'm going to go back to my desk, and I'm going to write this letter. And I'm going to have you sign this letter. And the letter is going to say that I told you that I didn't think you should do it because it would be considered fraud and it's against the law. But you're absolving me of all responsibility because I have documented that I told you this. Now, if you don't sign it, I'm still going to have the letter. And, it's going to be out there. So if anything ever happens, no one can put it back on me. And he thought about it and realized I was right. He didn't like it, but he realized I was right. And he knew I was going to do it. Why did he know I was going to do it? Because I have done it often over the years. I document things. If I tell someone who's either at my level or a little higher that there's something going on, or if I tell them something that I know to be the case, and they go ahead and either want to do it anyway or something, I document it. I use that so that I can show them later on, look, this is what I told you was going to happen. Or, you notice I wrote this thing here. I've got it down on paper, so don't even try to say, you didn't say it, because here it is right here. It's dated. Everything is signed. And this is not just for leaders. This is pretty much for anybody. If you're in business for yourself, if you are in a leadership position, if you're an employee. If you're an employee who has a problem with a supervisor or even another employee, you need to document it. You need to write it down somewhere or type it up on your computer and save it. Now, don't save it on your work computer, and don't ever send anything through work email if it's got something to do with personal stuff. I know you're going to think anything you do with someone at work is privileged because it's work. No, doesn't work that way. They can always get you for talking about personal stuff on business email. So that's just a sidebar. But if you are an employee and something happens or whatever and you feel it's unfair, you should document it. Doesn't mean you go telling everyone you document it unless it's imperative that you do so, but you should always have backup and protection. Now, if you're in a leadership position and you say you have to discipline someone, where you work might have some kind of forms that you have to fill out, but if they don't, or even if they do, you should have your own documentation. You should write everything up the way you want to, even if it happens to be long, because sometimes you get that little bit of space on a official form, and it's really never enough. So you should always write more than necessary if you're disciplining someone. If you're giving job reviews, for instance, different thing. It's almost the same thing. You may have a specific form or not, but whether it's good or bad, you should have everything written down. Hopefully you saw one of my earlier videos in this series where I said that if you're doing a job review and you're basing it on what a person has done in the last couple of weeks, you're not being fair to them and you're not doing your job, because you should have always been tracking everything that people did so that you could, give a job evaluation from the standpoint of everybody, the entire year, what they've done. Because, people will do a lot of good things, and one bad thing will change it all, especially if it's up to the time of a job review. And that's not fair. So, you should always document everything. Judge Judy is famous for saying that, and I haven't watched a lot of Judge Judy, I will tell you the truth. But the couple of times I've seen it, she said, okay, show me the document, show me the paper, show me the proof. Well, Judge, I didn't sign anything. You didn't sign it, it didn't happen. You don't have any proof. That's what I'm saying. There's this old thing where people say, well, don't you trust me? Is my word any good? Your word could change in a heartbeat. If all of a sudden it's going to cost you money, or it can cost you your job, or it can cost you your reputation, your word means nothing. So I'm just putting that out there. You should always be ready to document everything and save it somewhere. You know, like I said, if it's a work thing, save it at home. If you're the director over people, of course you save it, you know, they're at work. Hopefully in a file that you will lock so people can't just go through your stuff. So that's today's leadership, or actually person lesson. Document everything. This was a short one, I hope. Y'all take care. Have a great night.